Alrighty, everybody. Hello and welcome back. This time, we're not playing Slay the Spire or Kingdom 2 Crowns. This time, we're looking to, I guess you could say, purge the enemies of the Imperium. Mostly just going to be trying to level my Bulwark and Vanguard to their first prestige. Because I really do want to unlock their bonding stud pauldrons. This is also kind of a testing stream to see how well things go for the purposes of just my computer not wanting to die, kind of thing. Then again, should go well enough. I did try to double check some stuff, but overall, it seems like it will be fine. Once again, I also do hope that things sound good. I hope the game is not too loud and that I am not too quiet, at least in comparison to the game. If so, I can always adjust the volume in the game a little bit lower. And also, I do hope that my performance, like in terms of like, is the game going to be a slideshow or is the stream going to be a slideshow? I hope isn't too much of a issue, and I also do hope that my computer does not get cooked for trying to do this. This is, for all intents and purposes, a test. It will be very unfortunate if I can't stream Space Marine 2. Would very much want to. Same thing goes with Dark Tide. And this isn't specifically because the Siege mode's coming out for Space Marine 2 later this month, and the Arbitrator is coming out for Dark Tide around the same time as well. I do genuinely enjoy playing both games, so just gotta see how things go. And for anyone tuning in to the stream now or to the video later, currently, the reason for the black screen is because the game is loading. I'm just queued up for an operation. Nothing like too crazy. But should be getting into the mission here in a second. I moved my the little notification or little notice about my dog sleeping to the other corner, just that way, hey, if I'm having long load times for one reason or another because of joining other people, joining randoms. Okay, cool. I'm glad to get that error code again. I was getting these the other day, the error code N-14. I believe it is. But hopefully it doesn't continue. If it does, then I may have to just do solo operations or pivot to PvP. If I pivot to PvP, it's perfectly fine. I actually enjoy playing Space Marine 2 PvP a fair deal. Very much reminds me of like the old Gears of War days. Not only in like with regards to the PvP combat, but then also just the operations and the campaign gave me that, Gears of War feeling. Oh, finally, dude. Let's go. And also, yes, if if for whatever reason, if it is important, I do play Space Marine 2 with controller. It is just my controller is my preferred way of playing specific shooters. It depends on what the game is. Right. So like an example being, if playing Helldivers, personally, I prefer using a controller. If playing Darktide, I also prefer using a controller. However, in Darktide's case, I'll be the first to say this, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who said it and what have you, but aiming, trying to do any accurate shooting with controller is a little hard, even after fine-tuning your sensitivity and all that. But let me listen to the streams, that way I can hear how this sounds. Okay, it's not too bad. I could actually turn the game down just a tiny bit. So let me do that. I'll drop it down to 20, that way it's not too close to my volume. And I can always go to OBS and adjust it. Oh, I don't know why I was aiming at that. Okay. And I apologize if I'm a little sluggish in this. It has been a little bit since I've consistently played Space Marine 2. Oh, but there was a armor got there. Oh, finally, dude. Yeah. Although I'm almost done with leveling the Bulwark, man, does playing the Bulwark feel like a chore sometimes. I don't know. It's just, I don't like how kind of clunky the blocking and parrying for Bulwark feels. Yeah, if I had to say what my absolute preferred and favorite classes to play are, it would be tactical, heavy, and then assault. And not necessarily in that order. I like all three of them, and then I also like sniper. But I got it. The gene seed is not there. I'll pick that up. But I am also trying to keep an ear out for just how my PC sounds while doing this mission, or this operation. But
my equipment here.
yeah, and also with doing this, with this stream, something, or I will say, if and whenever I do stream Space Marine 2, if I'm ever doing any operations, I will not be doing any Chaos Space Marine operations or any Thousand Suns operations. The main reason for it is because they really do not agree with my computer, my PC. My PC always will, my graphics card specifically, will begin to overheat or get too hot. It is only in missions that the Thousand Suns are in. So that's Vox Libertalis and then all of the Demirium operations. And it does suck because it's not like I absolutely like hate Thousand Suns to the point of like, oh yeah, I never want to fight them at all. But they are, I'd say, compared to fighting the Tyranids, less enjoyable. But yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. Like, I think when it comes down to the operations, the ones I like the ones I definitely like more, just because also the enemies are, I'd say, better or more like thoroughly thought out with how they interact in the core gameplay loop, are the Tyranids. And then the Tyranid, I don't know, the Tyranid operations are just more interesting in my opinion. Like it's like a weird combination of things. It's like, one, I don't care for fighting the Thousand Suns in Space Marine 2. And their operations, all, at least in my opinion, are very mid, I'd say, at best. And now the Tyranid missions can definitely get repetitive if you just are farming them, you know, on loop, kind of. And I know Vox Libertalis isn't a purely Thousand Suns specific operation, but, you know, you're doing that operation to find the jamming, whatever's jamming, you know, Vox communications, and it is a demon host of the Thousand Suns. So it's like, it's a Thousand Suns operation with Tyranids in it. But I know, on kind of on the topic of like, you know, since I'm playing Warhammer, like a Warhammer game and whatnot, on the topic of Space Marines or Chaos Space Marines, man, I wish Chaos, like the Heretic Astartes in the PvP, had some like customization. Like, that way you could make your tactical, you know, which is Black Legion, maybe look like a Black Legion chosen. And then, you know, you make, you know, the Berserker or the Vanguard, which is supposed to be a Khorne Berserker, look more like a Khorne Berserker. But it kind of is what it is. I know, I just wish that you could use the models of the Chaos Space Marines without modding to, like, in operations. So I don't know, personally I'm more of a fan of the Firstborn Marine, like, style of armor and whatnot. You know, especially the Mark 7 and Mark 8 helmet, which is what I'm using. I also am a fan of the like Horus Heresy models.
Fill up on stings.
You know, it's like the Mark II armor, which now has a model refresh with the new edition of the Horus Heresy. Mark III, Mark IV. I mean, it's basically just the Mark X Tacticus helmet, just with like the more slanted front. But
All this unprocessed prometheus shall make a path that will be
kind of
seen
flashbang myself with my flag. Okay, I don't like fighting warriors like this. This is when things become dicey and not fun.
fresh magazine. That silence intended by the city. That is heretical behavior.
Okay, I can finally get out of the corner, jeez.
Re-up. None undermine the vision. Ammunition here. Where shall I plant this flag?
Yeah. I know also for one of the things that kind of like hung me up with like getting into Warhammer, 40K, tabletop was I wanted to, start out with like a well balanced army, and in my of course everyone's gonna maybe say like, oh yeah, it's Space Marines. Space Marines are like the obvious choice because they're the poster boy of the IP, and they're generally pretty simple and straightforward to learn. But man, in my opinion, Chaos Space Marines are so much more just generalist and like new player friendly with their with their rules and like what their units do. So I don't know, the issue I have with loyalists, the normal Space Marines and 10th edition, are just that they feel too like specific, which is part of the problem with their model range anyway. Whereas and so like the issue I was having when starting out was when building a list, like there were obviously models in the Space Marine model range where I'm like, man, that thing looks freaking awesome. Like it's a cool model, right? Whether that be like heavy intercessors, Sternguard veterans, Black Templar sword brethren, the Emperor's champion, like those models look sick as hell, right? But then it was more of like, okay, well, when it came down to list building, like actually getting a army sort of planned out, not even for the sake of like being meta or strong, but just making something that like, oh, this seems to work well, right? Like the gears are turning and things just kind of like connect and fall into place more or less smoothly. And the issue I was having with Space Marines was it just felt hard to do that. Like not that it is hard to do it, but more of it's with Gladius Task Force, which is the detachment for Space Marines I was trying to learn the most. It felt hard to like get something or make something that just kind of like worked out, and I wasn't like potentially screwing myself in either the choice of detachment or choice of units. Now, in hindsight, looking back at it, should I have started with something like one of the Codex Divergent chapters, like Blood Angels or Black Templars, like how I originally thought of when I was like considering getting into Space Marines, like for the, the tabletop? Hindsight being what it is, I think I should have. Like, I do think that I should have just said, fuck it, I'm gonna start out with like Blood Angels, right? And then things probably would have went a whole lot smoothly. But I didn't do that. I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna just try to basically learn Ultramarines, learn Gladius Task Force, try to get familiar and comfortable with it, and then just kind of go from there. And in my like 7-8 games of learning and like trying to learn, and also fighting Necrons and a very particularly annoying Necron list, I came at the conclusion with Space Marines, the Loyalist Marines, that like, man, they feel kind of mid, right? Like, now the units that like felt good, like Aggressors and Heavy Intercessors and Captain and Gravis Armor and Apothecary Biologists, they felt great. Like, they didn't feel bad at all. I mean, I had a Captain and Gravis Armor and some Heavy Intercessors freaking go toe-to-toe with a horde of Necron Immortals, Illuminor Zeres, and a handful of other things, and come out on top. Now, granted, part of that does come down to, like, dice. Like, the dice deciding, if they want to help you or, make you succeed. But I also, some of it is attributed to my positioning, because I apparently really early on in like my first couple games of 40k, and my friend was teaching me, but like not necessarily being like easy on me. One thing he pointed out was I was pretty good with my deployments and my movements of my units. But after 7-8 games trying to learn Space Marines and like specifically learn Ultramarines, and it just not really work out, I just said screw it. I'm gonna try the Leagues of Votann, and I want to try Chaos Space Marines. And the main reason why I decided to try those two out was because those were the two factions that to me were like, you know what, I already like the Leagues of Votann just on the funny basis of they're basically space dwarves. Yeah, that's being very reductive, and that's not exactly what they are, but you could view them as such. But so there was that, and then with Chaos Space Marines, it was more like, well, they're like Space Marines, but like not, right? And on top of it, I think that with regards to lore and characters, and this is more pertaining to the Horus Heresy than it is to like 40k, I think the Traitor Legions are more interesting, or have more like interesting stories or lore, or like interactions. But the main thing that kind of came down to it for me with why I ultimately decided, you know what, Chaos Space Marines and Leagues of Votann are like the two armies in 40k that just kind of clicked with me, was because I could look at their units, look at what you ran, like what like unit options you had access to and could use, and I immediately was just like, I understand where blank unit goes and how you're supposed to, like, how you should be trying to use Y thing, right? So an example being, you know, um, looking at Chosen and Legionnaires. Legionnaires are, for all intents and purposes, for the Chaos Space Marines, Assault Intercessors for Loyalist Marines. They have the same ability, so it makes you, it wants you to have them be more set up for melee. So you give them, run however many squads of 5. I run 2 squads of 5, but you have a squad of 5. You have the Aspiring Champion of Plasma Pistol and heavy melee weapon, and then you have one of the other Legionnaires have a heavy melee weapon, and then the rest of them just have bolt pistols and chainswords. And cool, great. You now have a pretty solid battle line melee unit that is a Space Marine profile. So you're looking at toughness 4, toughness 4, 3-up save, 2 wounds, and 6 inches of movement, and then pretty 2 OC each. So and they reroll wound rolls of 1. They can reroll 1s on their wound rolls normally, and then if they are fighting on an objective, they reroll just the full wound roll. That's pretty good. Like that, and it's similar to the Assault Intercessors of the Loyalists. I can look at that and be like, okay, clearly these are meant to be more of like small man squads, skirmishing units that you kind of just want to like throw at things. Pair them with a leader, like a character like a Chaos Lord or a Master of Executions, and you have a pretty lethal little 5-6 man squad that can absolutely just beat something down in the fight phase, and after charging. And then of Chosen, it's like, okay, they are basically better Legionnaires. Now when I say better, what do I mean by that? Well, at base, all of them have accursed weapons, which for all intents and purposes they are power swords. Strength 5 weapons, AP minus 1 or 2. I think it's AP minus 2, damage 1, right? And then I think they each make 2 attacks. All in all, that's pretty good, especially when you compare it to the chainsword of the Legionnaires, which is strength 4, AP minus 1, damage 1. So, okay, cool. Chosen already in melee have overall better melee weapons. But moreover, you can give some of them combi weapons instead of bolters. Which, I mean, is nice, but it's not the end of the world. That's really just dependent on like what you decide on choosing. You can give one of the Legionnaires paired accursed weapons at the cost of they don't have guns anymore. They don't have any shooting, or that one guy doesn't have any shooting, but he makes 1 more attack, and you can fully re-roll the wound roll because it has twin link. Or you can give one of them, or you can give one of them a power fist, which is a strength 8 AP minus 2 damage to melee weapon with 2 attacks, and you can give one of those Chosen a plasma pistol. So that's great. And then what makes the Chosen so good, and you like clearly can see, oh, this is like a workhorse infantry unit, is their ability. They're still able to shoot and charge if that squad advanced or fell back. So you slap Abaddon, Abaddon the Despoiler, on a squad of 5 or 10 Chosen, And you have what normally would have been a pretty slow and not really like fast shooting or shooting and and or melee epic hero just start zooming across the board without necessarily the need of a transport, because the infantry he's attached to give him 1 more inch of movement because they have 6 inches of movement, whereas he has 5.
Us against 1 or 2
And you could just advance. You don't have to worry about not being eligible to shoot or charge if you advance.
Is a weapon.
So I don't know. To me, it was just more of like Chaos Space Marines just kind of clicked better in my head than Space Marines. I also, as a whole, just don't like Oath of Moment. I think with regards to like a more simple and straightforward army rule that is more beginner friendly, I think Dark Pact for Chaos Space Marines is 100% more just beginner and user friendly, because you can choose at any time when you get value out of your army rule, or not at any time. You can choose in any of the, like, you know, if you're shooting or fight phases, hey, do I want to give one of my units that is eligible for Dark Pacting sustained hits 1 or lethal hits. I pressed Y by accident on my controller. I don't know. And, like, I know nowadays, if I were to make, or I say nowadays, but, like, if I were to rebuild a Space Marine list, it would 100% be a Blood Angels list. But I also would do it mostly because, from my experience of playing the Chaos Space Marines in the 3-4 games I've played them, I just like melee. Melee in 40k 10th edition just feels like, I'd say overall pretty good. And also, in my opinion, the game is less enjoyable if people, you know, if you get shot off the board. Like that, you know, that's where it doesn't feel very good. You know, whether that be, you know, you're getting shot off the board because of being overwatched, or you're being shot off the board in the shooting phase, it doesn't feel very good. Yeah, it does suck that in the case of Chaos Space Marines, they do lack some keywords like infiltrate or scouts. I know that's not like, oh, you know, they can't get that stuff at all, but it's very, like, you have to do specific things or like use specific things. But it is what it is. We have not found the gene seed, have we? No, we have not found the gene seed. Damn.
I see them coming, brothers. Plenty for everyone. Trap is ready for ignition.
But yeah, if I were to make the army for Space Marines, it would definitely be Blood Angels. Not only because Blood Angels are good, and also just overall their detachments, specifically Liberator Assault Group, is very straightforward, and also, like, I'd say pretty good. But it also comes down to, I like melee, I like Assault Intercessors when I've played Space Marines, and I like aggressors. So there's definitely things that can be done You know, I've never used, like, personally, I've never used a Blood Angels captain, but I've heard of some, like, pretty crazy and, like, wild things that he can do in melee combat, especially if you charge, because you can effectively turn him into, like, a, you know, melee suicide missile, or, you know, a freaking melee ballistic missile in a way. But there's that, there's you know, you could have a sanguinary priest attached to that unit if you really wanted to, just to make it to where, you know, your squad of assault intercessors, which, you know, are all wielding chain swords, you know, you freaking charge them into something, and let's say the thing you're charging them into is like strength, or, you know, toughness 7 or higher. Here you have a squad of 5 assault intercessors with a sanguinary priest and Blood Angels captain. They're making a charge into that freaking unit, and, you know, instead of wounding on 5s or 6s, you're wounding on 3s and 4s, or, you know, 4s at worst, 3s on at best, and it's just like, what the hell? Like, it's just chain swords, and it's like, yes.
The swarm has almost fully committed. Be ready for my mark.
But yeah, like, overall,
You are clear to detonate. Cook those rotten bastards. We end this now.
The swarm will not be making it to your location.
Tyranid biocides down 90% and full. Swarm annihilation confirmed. Excellent one. Move to extract. Thunderhawk arriving at evac point. Ramp down and ready. We can make it. Keep going.
Fresh cartridge.
but
Extraction complete.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know with regards to 40k, like, I haven't had the opportunity to play a in-person game of 40k with physical miniatures, more, and that's mostly because I don't have enough miniatures to actually field a 2,000 point army of Chaos Space Marines or Space Marines. So a lot of my experience is from Tabletop Simulator, which I'd say is not bad, because it definitely does get, you know, it's helped get me more accustomed and used to the rules, interactions, how to generally play 40k, because those things are going to be interchangeable from, you know, tabletop and online. It's not that different than, like, Dungeons and Dragons. But, you know, and I mean, so far with my experience playing 40k, it has definitely been fun. Like, yes, I would say that, like, on the whole, the least enjoyable armies I've had the pleasure, or, you know, had the fortune or misfortune of fighting would be probably Necrons. I say that more specifically with the asterisks of I want to say that it was my friend's army list, like the specific army he had, that was the problem. Not, oh, it's I just don't like Necrons. Because I will say this, fighting Necrons is annoying. But, and because, like, compared to, especially when compared to fighting Tyranids, Guardsmen, Tau, where it's like, yeah, those armies are more, like, plentiful in terms of bodies, and, you know, they have scary shooting or scary melee, and, you know, I'm coming at this from the perspective of playing effectively Space Marines, regardless if we're talking about Loyalist Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, or the Votann. Yes, I know the Votann don't have the same stat lines as Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines, but it does more come down to the Votann have, you know, I would say fairly similar stat profiles excuse me, to Loyalist and Traitor Astartes. But the one thing that really irks me, like that bugs me to like no end with Necrons, or not just Necrons, but like what bugs me the most about it is the games I've had that I would say overall felt like good games of 40K were the games that I wasn't fighting the Necrons, where I wasn't fighting my friend who was using that very annoying list in particular. And I want to say that all boils down to when fighting the Tyranids, the Guardsmen, Orcs, and the Tau. In all of those games, I'd had the opportunity to fight those different armies, whether they be the same person just playing a different army, or different people, or someone I've never really played against. It felt fun because there was a good level of back and forth between the two of us, whether that be back and forth in the shooting phase, back and forth in the fighting phase, back and forth over who holds what, you know, no man's land objective, that kind of stuff. And the thing with I guess the thing generally with the Necrons is you're not going to have that as much because Necrons are hard to just put down. You have to put so much shooting in a shooting phase just to take down like one unit of Immortals that are being led by a Plasmancer and a Chronomancer, I think, or whatever. And I don't know. In my opinion, it's like that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good when you have to put so much effort in the shoot and fight and potentially the charge and fight phase just to take one thing down, and that one thing isn't a big vehicle or walker like a Dreadnought, a Land Raider, or an Imperial Knight. If it was like one of those, right? Like if I was fighting Imperial Knights and it took me like my entire shooting phase and my entire charge and fight phase just to take down one Chaos Knight Rampager, sure, I would be a little annoyed, but like it makes sense because those things are big, those things have a lot of wounds, those things are pretty tough, and they hit pretty freaking hard in shooting and in melee. It makes sense why I would maybe need to put more resources into it if I don't have the right things to answer that enemy, right? Like I don't have a whole lot of anti-tank. Same thing goes if, like, let's say someone throws a Redemptor Dreadnought at me. Redemptor Dreadnoughts are kind of tanky, and they are kind of scary in shooting and melee. So, but it makes complete sense if, let's say, I mayhaps have to throw the entire kitchen at that one thing just to kill it, just to take it down, and to like be sure to take it down. You know, like that to me makes sense. It's reasonable. You know, same thing of attacking a Land Raider or a Forge Fiend or or a whatever, something big, a demon prince, a primarch. All of that makes sense. But I just, with Necrons and how most of their army have invuln saves or the ability to come back to life because of reanimation protocol, or they wound on threes because they use strength 5 and higher weapons on average, so against toughness 4 and lower bodies that really sucks. Yeah, it feels really rough. I think I got kicked from the session. Either kicked or the host left, but that's and that, I think that's the problem that I have with Necrons is it's like, on average, they're an army that are hard to kill, like hard to take, hard to remove units from the board, like permanently, just right off the rip. And then it's like most of them are toughness 4, or most of them are on average toughness 5 or higher. Most of them on average have a saving, a good, like a decent save or an invuln save period. Some of them have a feel no pain, like wraiths, I believe. And then when you look at their weapon profiles, it's like on average their weapons are strength 5. I say average because just taking into consideration that warriors and immortals don't use the same weapon profile or weapon profiles and whatnot, the average is their guns, their shooting is strength 5. So right then and there, the only way that a Necron is wounding on a 4 up is if they're shooting into something that's toughness 5 or higher. So we're looking at Terminators, Votann, just period, because the leagues of Votann are on average toughness 5 bodies. The only way they're wounding on 4s is if they're attacking a Terminator. And if they're attacking something like a Centurion or an Obliterator or Hearthguard, of the Votann, it's like if they're attacking something that's toughness 6, then they're wounding on 5s. And it's like, if that's the case, okay, fine, right? But it's like, holy crap. The fact that, granted, yes, in lore, Necrons have the most technologically advanced, gear, they're the most technologically advanced of the factions. But, like, that's freaking crazy, man. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. I may have to just start the mission and then have people join me, so. And now, granted, the argument you can make of, like, the Necrons is, oh, well, they're slow. They only have 5 inches of movement on average. That is true, and yeah, in terms of wounds, most of your stuff is probably sitting at around 2 wounds average, not including characters or vehicles. And this is just with my limited knowledge of facing Necrons. But, I don't know. Just in my experience, Necrons have been the most, like, painful, unfun army I could possibly, like, ever want to play against. And I haven't even fought Imperial or Chaos Knights yet. And like, and I even say this, having played in multiple games, even if they were like not where we weren't really worrying about objectives and stratagems, but I've played games where I'm fighting Norn emissaries, like not just one Norn emissary, but 2 Norn emissaries. Talk about something that's absolutely terrifying in shooting and in melee. And I've had Terminators, go toe-to-toe with some of them and live. Not kill them, mind you. Like, the Terminators couldn't really wound the Norns, but they were able to sit there and just go, haha, you can't kill us. And Fortnite dance, Fortnite default dance over, in front of them. with their sorcerers.
Reload. You failed that oath. The enemy shall atone for slaying my brothers. Unleashing frag grenade. Inserting rounds.
I'm just curious. Oh, these are lower level guys. That's fine. We're all good. We're chilling. We're vibing. We're taking on the Tyranids.
Fresh magazine.
Now, actually, no. There's not really much I have to add on that. I don't know. Necrons, not it for me. They just don't feel fun to fight. Maybe I honestly, I really like, and this is just me really trying to give them as a faction the benefit of the doubt. It may have just been that one army that my friend was using that is just very, very cringe. Because the whole thing about his army, because he's playing Awakened Dynasty, everything he has hits on 2s instead of hitting on 3s, like when shooting, or at least so long as they're led, so long as they're being led by something. That unit is hitting on 2s. So the already annoying strength 5, I think AP0 lethal hits Tesla carbines, I believe it is, or the Gauss carbines, they freaking hurt, and they're annoyingly accurate. Never mind the fact that he has two blobs of immortals. They're both being led by 2 characters, so that's 10 guys, each of them shoot twice, so it's like even if he overwatches and they hit on 6s, that's still 20 shots, and if any of them hit and they hit on 6s, if it's lethal hits, they just have lethal hits. I have to go through to making those saves when I get to that point, and if it's sustained hits instead, then he just gets more wounds to throw into the dice pool to try to get through. That just doesn't feel great. And never mind the fact that he has 2 Hexmark destroyers, and they can overwatch even if the stratagem's already been used before for free, and instead of hitting on 6s, they hit on 2s. That is pretty annoying, like, all things considered. And so, at least of fighting my friend who's played Necrons against me the most and has used that one list the most, I've told him, like, I've straight up told him, like, dude, I do not like that list. That list is very annoying to deal with. And I've also told him before, like, when I was beginning out, before I made the move to playing Chaos Space Marines and then also trying Votann and really liking them, was, I don't want to make a list that is just like I'm making it for the express purpose of I want to beat you. I want to beat you and this list that you are particularly using. No, I want to make a list that I'm overall happy with just how it plays, like how it plays. I like the models, like they feel good, like to play, and they look good. Since I do intend on like, buying the physical things and assembling them and painting them, because I do enjoy the hobby aspect of 40K. But man, that's kind of why like the closest thing for me is Chaos Space Marines with just an army that I'm like, I like the look, I like how they look, I like their lore overall, even if in some cases it's dumb. And in terms of how they play, even if I am playing Creations of Bile, that detachment, they feel good. Now, granted, I do sort of want to do a rematch against Brody, or against my friend who's playing the Necrons a fair bit, because I've only with Chaos Space Marines, I've only had the opportunity to play against him once, and since that one time, I have made some adjustments to my list. Like, I no longer have Chaos Terminators. Not because I dislike Chaos Terminators, but it's more to do with it's more to do with I just don't like how expensive Chaos or not just Chaos Terminators. I don't like how expensive Terminators are as a whole, like regardless of what Space Marine we're talking about, whether it be Loyalists, Chaos, Death Guard, Rubric Marine, or Thousand Suns. Not a fan of how expensive Terminators are, and it sucks because Terminators are freaking based. Like, they're super cool, and the fact being that they're so expensive to run on the tabletop, it's a little disheartening, I'd say, just a tiny bit. And I say this not even expecting them to be like absolutely massive hitters when it comes down to like shooting and melee. Not to say that they aren't really strong in melee. Like, I've had Terminators go toe to toe, with a Norn, not die and manage to wound it. I've had them go toe to toe with Old One Eye and 2 Carnifexes, and they managed to also weather some attacks and kill / wound a Carnifex. Before Old One Eye effectively skewered them. But I don't know. Like, my issue with Space Marines, and this is just like a overall, this doesn't matter if it's Chaos or Loyalists. Some of the units where I'm like, man, I really like them because they look cool, or I like how they play, or I like how they generally interact with in like combat or in like different turns. They just are always like overcosted, or if they're not overcosted, what they do, the true value of it is just so, I would say, like, middling or disappointing in one way or another. Didn't realize our Vanguard has Spike on. I will mute, or I will lower the in-game. But jeez, dude. So, bless you, even though you can't hear me. I am gonna turn down. I say, damn. Like, I have it on 5, and that was loud. But yeah, I don't know. Because I know the thing that kind of sucks too with the thing that sort of sucks is, although I really do like Chaos Space Marines, man, I wish they had some things from the Horus Heresy, like Tyrant Siege Terminators of the Iron Warriors from the Heresy. Those would be cool. Yeah, I know they're basically just loyalist Terminators with Cyclone, but all of them have Cyclone missile launchers and combi bolters. But that would be so cool to have that, you know, or Chaos Space Marines having, you know, their own versions of the Land Raider, Redeemer, and Crusader, because realistically they should have their own versions of those, and they shouldn't just be only locked to the Loyalists.
All elements needed are prepared.
But like, man, there's just, I mean, there's a fair bit. There's a fair bit I would like in Chaos Space Marines. I'm genuinely surprised that there are no units in Chaos Space Marines that are effectively like their versions of heavy intercessors or infiltrators. Like, yeah, I know there are detachments like Fellhammer, Siege Host, and Deceptors that kind of like fit that to a degree, you know, for the Alpha Legion and the Iron Warriors, and then of course there's one for the Night Lords. But like, man, give Chaos just a little bit more, you know, with like peace and love and all that. I know, you know, Space Marines are #1, you know, in quotes, but give Chaos Space Marines some much deserved goods. Hells, at the very least, make their Terminators cheaper. Make them be like 15 points cheaper. Make them be just a little bit cheaper than Loyalist Terminators. And I say that not like jokingly. I do, like, I seriously do mean that. The fact being that Chaos Space Marine Terminators are 180 points for 5 and 360, I think 360 points for 10 is crazy. Granted, it's crazy that normal Terminators for the Space Marines are 170 points for 5 and 340 for 10. Especially when you consider that, like, yeah, their biggest like thing going for them, you know, as Terminators, are their defensive profile. You know, toughness 5. What is it? Toughness 5, 3 wounds, 3 up save, or I think it's like 2 up save, and they have a 4 up invuln. Like, yeah, that's pretty good. Like, that's pretty solid, like, defensively. And then their melee is, you know, all power fists, unless we're talking about Chaos Terminators, then that's not all power fists. But, dude, give Chaos Space Marines access to Tyrant Siege Terminators, and have them be units where it's like they're only taken in squads of 5. You can't take them in squads of 10. They cost 200 points, let's just say, but they're a squad of, you know, Terminators who all have Cyclone missile launchers. They all have power fists or chain fists, whichever, you know, have there be the option of you can have all of them with one or the other. And then for their guns, make it be a combi bolter or combi weapon. And you don't even have to give their combi bolter like 1 AP. Just make it be a standard combi bolter. Okay, cool, great. They have access to the Cyclone missile launchers, which from the Loyalists are pretty decent because they have frag and crack grenade or crack missile profiles. They have decently okay, you know, infantry / chaff shooting with combi bolters, and then alternatively you could just run combi weapon instead. And then for melee, they have anti-vehicle melee and chain fists, or they have more general purpose high toughness anti-elite melee with power fists. And then for like their profile, they can still have 5 inches of movement. They can still be toughness 5. They can still be, you know, 2 up or 3 up save with a 4 up invuln. And then for wounds, same thing. You can keep them at 3 wounds. You know, keep them at 3 wounds, or if you really wanted to, make them 4 wounds, but that's probably like more of a thing. And then give them an ability, you know, make them have an ability that lends into them being siege terminators. These are tyrant siege terminators of the Iron Warriors. Excuse me. So I don't know. That's just my like thought process on that. Because if those siege terminators, which could only be taken in squads of 5, could be like would be 200 points, but it made sense for them to be as much as they are, I would personally be like, okay, fine, like that's perfectly okay. But eh. Here I am playing 40k, a 40k video game, talking about 40k tabletop and my wishes for Chaos Space Marines. I know it'd be cool to stream a tabletop simulator match of 40k. I just know that would be a very long stream because, at least in my experience, 40k games on tabletop simulator tend to last like 6-7 hours. So that would be a very long stream. Like, I could already say confidently, like, yeah, that'd be a long stream. Wouldn't be the biggest fan of.
Located extra stems.
And I'd also need to ask whomever I'd be playing against if they'd be fine with me doing that. Like me streaming it. I'm sure they would be, but it's always good to make sure to ask.
Hawk available.
Talassa report.
The Hive Tyrant continues to evade.
Talassa, you cut out. Repeat.
Damn it! Nothing is getting through. We are in the dead zone.
We have no choice but to follow. Let us hope this is not a trap.
Yeah, I think what I might do is I'm gonna get the Bulwark to level 25, and then I'm gonna swap over to PvP, and we're just gonna PvP for a little bit, and then yeah, probably PvP for like a couple matches, and then that'll be it for Space Marine 2. Oh, I pressed Y on my controller by accident. I'm dumb. Did that by accident. My brain.
Taking the shot.
This Blackguard veteran is meaning business. Okay.
creature is undergoing some kind of transformation.
That thing is crackling with energy now.
If only bolt guns were as effective against swarm lords as they are here in tabletop.
Our banner wins unfurled. Aid us.
Nice. Let's go. And yeah, I know I'm only playing on substantial. Oh, it's not that hard. I mean, yeah, sure, but for some people, it is difficult, especially if you're playing on a class that isn't leveled yet. You know, it definitely can be. But what am I? Someone is maybe adding me in Discord. What is going on? No, no one is adding me in Discord. I thought they were. Nice. One more operation, and the Bulwark will be will be able to prestige. I'm definitely happy about that. Which backpack is this? Okay. I will use it. Let's see. Last round. Excuse me. Last round has more damage. I'm gonna just take this because I think having headshots do more damage would be more useful. I could always take this after getting that. Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. Perk tree. Yeah. Yeah, take that. I do light attack pretty often. Can't do any chaos missions. My computer will cook itself. The unfortunate reality of this game and my computer is if I touch any of the Chaos Space Marine missions, any of the Thousand Suns missions, it's like, nope, sorry, time to get cooked. And I especially don't want to push it while streaming because I'm sure playing this game and streaming has definitely put some more strain on my system. Not enough to cause it to start cooking because I have been monitoring it. But I know with confidence any of the Thousand Suns operations will do it. Like, it will be too much. I've done everything I can to try to cause it to not be a problem. I've tried changing settings, I've tried changing a whole bunch of things, and it's not done anything. So I don't view it as much as like too much of a loss, because I don't like fighting the Thousand Suns in this game, and their operations are kind of mid.
Retaking those sectors is a lost cause. Bombardment from orbit risks collateral damage, so we need a more targeted approach. Commandeer a Nova Cannon implosive warhead from the Navy supplies in the Astra.
Hopefully when the siege mode comes out, game doesn't want to get fried also from trying to play that. I definitely wouldn't mind playing that on stream and or off stream. He's got it.
Sending frag grenade. Survey the terrain while you can, brothers.
Advance when it is clear. Tons of sediment.
Just gotta light spam it. It hit me on the backswing. Okay, he's got it. He's got that, and I got him.
Waste nothing, brothers. Survey the terrain while you can, brothers.
I do wish that the power sword in Space Marine 2 was more like the power sword in Darktide, or the power sword and Relic Blade. 'Cause, man, those things.
Skitter to the grave, Signos.
Did not realize I was going the wrong way.
Lieutenant, we have arrived at the ammo dump.
Activate the quartermaster's console away from the shield spirit. Instructed to load the implosive warhead onto the train and assist it when necessary.
Where's like that? Execute that one. Let the summon aid.
Oh, didn't even get the pop-up that it was in execute range.
Inserting rounds.
Messiah's blessings, Quartermaster. Awaiting your instructions.
This is hideous. Load a Nova cannon
Oh,
and
come
place a
on.
warhead onto the supply train.
Acknowledge. Commencing transfer protocols. Attention. Savages not found. Operators required to complete the transfer process.
Also, it'd be really cool if we could play like 3 of the same class, because then you could recreate, you know, the unit composition of like a Blade Guard veteran squad or a Eradicator squad. You know, have, you know, three bulwarks, and then one of them with a plasma pistol, I believe. Because that would be the sergeant. Okay, like, is A1 over here? Yeah, that's it. He's got it. Okay, good. Yeah, I know in Space Marine 2, I'm not the biggest fan of the Melta weapons. Like, I'm not a fan of the multi-Melta, Melta rifle, or the Inferno pistol. They just don't seem to do enough.
Best do as it says.
I got it.
Processing request. No foe may hide from the Imperial justice. What needs battling? Fresh magazine.
Alright, let's get this show on the road.
Lieutenant Titus, we are sending the payload to the train terminal now.
Good. Escort the payload to the train. That leads toward the ferry us to the train.
Brothers, to my mark.
Oh, my dog. Oh, she's so tired. So sleepy. Sounds like a monster. Nah. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like reciprocating right now. not see. All there was the viscera of Tyranids in my screen. Or on my screen. Oh, I didn't realize he was like right behind me.
Brace for another storm!
That dude like instantly does it before it even pops up that they can get executed. That's kind of crazy.
Finally through that damn grate. Deploying bridge. Slow and steady. Ready to leave for passage. Good to go.
Terminal looks empty.
Obstruction detected. Removal is required to commence.
I will see it done.
Path is clear of detritus.
Yeah, at first I didn't like the heavy bolt pistol in Space Marine 2, but now after using it like a fair bit, I like it.
Rearm. Melt.
Oh, I forgot I had that. I thought I had a grenade.
Momentum Minotaur coordinates transfer. 3639 loading complete. Manifest updated.
Stop that target from running fresh.
Whew.
This tide of Xenos is ended. Muster at my location. There is no going back, brothers. May I be born having dread.
Oh, come on. Okay, there we go.
Ordnance in place, Lieutenant. Give us the word.
And give me another melta bomb so that way I can accidentally put it, think it's a grenade, and put it somewhere and it be useless.
That silenced the Tyranids. Time to bury those hive abominations.
Active power depleted. Initiating charging cycle. Departmental inventory penalties will be assessed.
Unexpected. Let us reassess our approach.
Talasa, I have multiple swarms moving to your location. You have their attention. Deal with them swiftly. We will not get another shot in this. Tyranid from the open tracks. Let us crush them with an engine.
The train requires immediate protection.
Oh, that's a Ravener. How do you burrow through a catwalk like that?
Charging system detected. Engine sleep requested to perform rites of restoration.
Link your armor to the mechanics device.
Damn.
You will need to
So that
keep
dude
close
does it like
proximity to the
instantly,
charging
like
station until
like
it
not even the
resets.
second. It's like no, it's like the instant that it happens. He does it. Does the execute? That's crazy. The pop up doesn't even happen yet, and he's doing it.
Fresh magazine.
Okay, dude, get out of the way.
Ravenous brood.
The engine is charged and prepared for departure.
Deploy immediately.
As you command.
Bomb is away.
Detonation in 5. Brace the shockwave.
can prestige the Bulwark. And then I gotta work on getting the Vanguard prestiged, which is gonna be, I wouldn't say annoying, it's just I don't like the Vanguard very much. And part of that has to do with just not liking the weapons that they have access to. So I don't know. Like of their weapons, the only one I'm like, yeah, I like because I've used it a fair bit on another class is the bolt carbine. Melee kills of extremist enemy level. Medicaid stems restore 40% more health. I mean, that'd be nice. Or more charge. Honestly, I'll just do resilience. Cool. I got that. I now have this pauldron, which I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put the emblem on the right shoulder because I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm just he's a Crimson Fizz. There's not much to it. No thinking. Brain off. Smooth brain. Yeah. So like I don't know. Like for me with the Vanguard, it really is just down to I only really like the bolt carbine and I like the semi-auto version of it more than the others. I believe the Oculus is the full auto one, and it's all right, but like, it's meh. And then the burst fire one I don't like. It's just it feels bad. And then Meltas just don't feel like they hit hard enough, which is I think contrary to what most people think of when referring to the bolt weapons. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, most people consider the bolt weapons in this game to be kind of like underwhelming and like not very good. But yeah, I don't know. I'll do one more mission. Do one more operation. Do that on my Vanguard, and then we'll head over into PvP. PvP for a little bit. If I can't play my Vanguard, then that is unfortunate. I'll just play one of the other classes then. Oh, sick. Nice. That was a bad grenade throw on my part.
A lift station lies just ahead, Meridian. Consider Now wait out and lift while rotating positions.
Get in, brothers! Hurry!
Well, that was a tiny bit rough.
Ignoel Mitrian welcomes you to Longinus Gamma Bio-Research Facility. Please do not disturb the lift. It would be a waste. I have no music to play while you descend. Use the silence to contemplate your futile, brutal existence in service to a desiccated cause.
Something is amiss with this servo skull.
Viridian, the servo skull is enslaved to an unknown master.
Signal silenced. Continue to discuss your fate amongst yourselves. It changes nothing.
This is why I do not trust tech priests.
A suggestion: abandon Gallio's misguided vendetta against the Magos biologists.
Do you know what Gallio and Mitrian achieved together in the past? Ask about Project Zeta-6 if you ever speak to him again.
That Trigon is a greater threat than a malfunctioning servo skull. View your packs, brothers. Grapple your dissect. Into the more. Arming up. Line up behind me to launch that servo skull on mission complete. Quiet. The damnable thing might be logging our words. If the Trigon desires battle, we will unleash more. Before the day's end, it shall die at our hands.
I was worried you had fallen victim to Mitrian's mastery of malphonic disruptive frequencies, but now the uncomfortable sensation associated with relief cools my remaining skin. Be warned, Viridian. Mitrian
Actually, I'll
cannot
pick up this melta bomb for
stand
later.
against you alone, so she will lie and store in hope the Xenos swarm will devour you. Case in point, she has enslaved that servo skull as a crude mouthpiece, but give her word zero credibility for the mission's sake and your own.
Heard and acknowledged.
Your righteous reek is a beacon to the Tyranids, drawing them closer and closer.
The behemoth wants to fight!
The facility will be infested in moments. Status. The facility
I was trying to roll. Oh well.
Requisition melter charges to eradicate the tunnels and halt the infestation.
It's fine.
Find the melter ordnance with this.
It's okay. At least, hey, we all have a mortal wound, so it's fair now.
Melter charge in hand, brothers. I have a melter charge.
Melter detonation materials available.
This melter charge is on the Xenos swarm spots.
Hive tunnel destroyed.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to dying. It's not good.
There is no going.
Inside the facility, you'll find Metrion cowering in her data enclave.
Gallia, old friend of mine. If you missed our binaric discourses, you could have sent communication. I observe you still pathetically cling to views of soft tissue. Remember, meat lacks efficiency, whereas metallic alloys stave off corrosion and degradation for far longer.
How far you have fallen, Ignomen, that I must drag you back into the light.
Let's have that side box buzzing out of my ears.
Nice.
No hope and no brains. Brothers, join me.
Legos Gallia, I hereby order you to turn your weapons on each other.
What is gravity? I die with my hands around their necks.
3 meat lackeys seems like overkill, Gallia. You think too highly of me. These poor, inert variables shall perish here, devoured by the Tyranids. And you do not care.
Metrion shut down power to the uplink terminals. You must resupply the generator with a backup power cell. She hopes the Tyranids will annihilate you. when she
No.
underestimates the
No. Oh well.
Search the area.
All they have to do is just live for about a minute. I'm good.
Beseech you, Galio. Bear witness to the summation of our divine arithmetic from long ago. Remember Project Zeta 6?
As my theorems predicted, your life vector has converged with renegade factors, and Zeta 6 was a waste of computational resources and one perfectly good Grox. Surrender now, and perhaps leniency can be granted. After the mind probes, of course.
You are a redundant functionary. Your Astartes shall die here, alone, in the dark.
Dang, I spawned all the way over here.
One down. Trillions to go.
Power cell identified. Hurry, brothers. The generators need power cells.
Here is a power cell. We must charge the generators at once. Finished and ready. Good finish. My duty is inside.
So no, 'cause they were over here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I see, it's down there.
Light and darkness.
Oh well.
How easily flesh parts deceive their perception.
Looked away from the screen for 2 seconds.
Disrupt her attempts to connect with the facility's network. Metrion will seize any opportunity to damage crucial data, which would deem this mission a failure. Do not let her
Nah, I don't think so.
Disable this console.
Return to Metrian's containment unit. See, Metrian, the more you thrash, the deeper you set our hooks.
These tender thoughts of Astartes' flesh have accomplished nothing, Gallia. My machinations are already achieving my designs. You are fools, peasants.
Silence, Metrian. Meridian, confirm possession of her quivering mass of computational gray matter.
I hold the tech priest's raindrop, and am resisting the urge to smash it.
Pilot, Meridian is ready for evacuation. Sending updated extraction coordinates to you now, Meridian.
Now we go over here and we just continue on towards the end of the mission.
Arming up. Good to go. Swapping out magazines.
Through one last maelstrom we go.
Not even this interminable storm damage our chapter's colors. Sneaky bastard is down.
Yep, and one of these days,
Reloading.
my friend who plays Tyranids in tabletop, one of these days he'll be successful with his band of lictors that their goal is to just basically dive into a infantry unit with a character and try to assassinate that. One of these days he will. Granted, it hasn't helped that when he's done it, I think he's always tried to go after in the past it was the units that were Terminators, so it's like it's probably not very likely to succeed, but yeah, we'll see. I hope that at some point he successfully has it happen once, and then those lictors proceed to just get vaporized by whatever is near them, because that is probably what would end up happening.
I cannot land with that burrowing abomination lurking about. Deep scans have penetrated the atmospheric disturbances and Metrian's meddling code. Trigon vulnerability data pushed to your displays.
Grant this monstrosity no quarter. Its shell coating has weak spots. Shoot them!
No, I will not return that melted charge. Luna! Hey! Luna, you need to stop messing with yourself, dude. You sound terrible when you do that. You sound like a little monster. Like, right now, you're not listening. Luna! Hey! Yeah, when you do that, you sound like a monster, and it's like... I wouldn't say scary, just more like, what the heck, man? Yeah. Like, are you just, like, super congested all the time, and then when you do that, you just sound like a monster? Knock it off, okay? Yeah, I touched you. I touched your leg to tell you to knock it off. Since I can reach you from my desk. Luna! Please knock it off, okay? Hey, you sound like a monster. Oh, it's because we don't have a freaking melted charge. Luna! Okay, hold on. I'm gonna mute my mic real quick. 'Cause I need to tell her to knock it off and she's not listening. Okay. Frickin', I should be good to not have to mute my mic. But no, it's like, she just like starts licking her paw or whatever, and then like right after she starts doing that, she then just starts like sounding like super congested and is like a monster, and it's like, dude. Like, she knows she's not supposed to be doing it, but she lives to be stubborn. Ugh. Oh, I do find it funny that I can parry this thing, though. Oh, stop running.
Trigon kill confirmed. Congratulations, Meridian. Mission was a success, despite the odds. I do not think the brain is happy. Good. Ignoel Metrion and the historical dataset she possesses are for Mechanicus eyes only. But rest assured, she is in trustworthy hands now. You have my gratitude for your efforts, and I shall recommend some honorifics for your service, of course. There is much to pass, much to learn, and much to reminisce about.
Hell yeah, dude. Nice. I love gaining XP. Okay. Now, let me leave that squad, check the stuff I unlocked, and then I'm gonna go into the PvP, make sure things are all in order for over there for loadouts. And then we be PvPing. And then hopefully keep getting on the Chaos Space Marine team, because I don't know, I like how the Chaos Space Marine versions of the classes look in Space Marine 2. Oh, hi Luna. Are you awake and want to go outside, or are you just being weird? Are you just staring at me because? Are you staring at me because you're not happy that I told you no earlier? I think my dog is not very happy that I told her to knock it off. Yeah, I'll stick with that. I'll stick with the increased melee damage. Yeah, dude, once I get this class prestige and I unlock this this Pauldron, man, I'll be so happy. I don't know, I really like how the molecular bonding studs Pauldron looks. But now we go into the Eternal War. We go into the Eternal War and we fight for the Emperor or for Chaos, whichever. I don't know. Like, all I gotta say is I'm not gonna complain if I'm on Team Chaos Space Marines. I don't know. It also comes down to, like, not only do I like how, oh yes, let's go. Not only does it come down to I like how Chaos Space Marines look, but I also like the old style of weapons, like the classic like weapons. Even if for Chaos Space Marines they have, you know, the spiky bits and the trim on it, it's like I still overall like it and prefer it. sorry. Blocking your line of sight, dude. Oh, okay. Well, nice. You wasted your grenade, nerd. Stupid infiltrators who only cloak and use submachine guns and don't actually use snipers. Mm-hmm.
The moment is now.
When a jump pack intercessor is stuck in shooting with a heavy intercessor. Yeah, the usual fun stuff. Whatever. Oh, hold on. Stupid freaking dude, man. Oh, stop being a rat, okay? It's cringe. Like, undoubtedly, it is cringe. We're trying to... Nope. You are not getting away.
Special deployment ready.
Yeah, like, I can still see you, dude.
Seeing beyond the wise. Reloading.
Alright, cool, they got someone.
Now is the time. Shock grenade. Surprise.
Nope.
Special moment is now.
I don't know. I don't mind sitting up here and doing this.
So he died.
But I mean, if there's gonna be one guy that's effectively just trying to be a rat,
The moment is now.
the entire time, then no, I'm sorry.
The light of the night.
None hide from wonders.
Iron within, iron without. Fatality confirmed. Special deployment ready. A welcome resource.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. We do a bit of flanking. Oh, hold on.
Shrouded to severe.
Can't see. That one guy, dude. That one guy. I swear it feels like they have more than one or more than two infiltrators, but they only have two infiltrators. I don't know. Like, what's up with that, man? Yeah, what's up with that? No, don't bark. If you need to go outside, you gotta get up, okay, dog? Like, that's how that works. Stop being a monster and get up.
Special deployment ready.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it was what it was. Just surprised that no one else was around to shoot at him, but oh well. No.
He was too frail for this war.
Oh, I had my. I pressed Y. I pressed Y on my controller. I did. I think it was like. I think it was like the millisecond that it was about to be off cooldown. I pressed it, and then that's when I died. And as I died, it got off cooldown. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Nice. I have access to the heavy bolt pistol should I want to use it. But no, one thing I will say that I'm not the biggest, or there's a couple things I'm not the biggest fan of with the multiplayer or the PvP in Space Marine 2. And that is, number one, the assaults having, I think it's, what, three jump pack, like, activations that they can ground slam you with. Not a fan of that. Like, I'm fine with it being on a somewhat short cooldown. I'm just not a fan of, like, assault basically kind of devolves into jump up in the air, charge slam of the Thunderhammer, and then added on top of that, I'm not the biggest fan of you can't dodge away from you can't dodge out of their ground slam. So like if they're doing it, you can't do anything about that. Like you are just going to get caught in it whether you wanted to or not. Not the biggest fan of that. That feels kind of bad. I know a little gripe I have, like, playing as and playing against Bulwarks in PvP, is I do feel like, for the sake of it, you shouldn't be allowed to, like, perpetually block without any downside besides slowing. Like, I think at some point you should either be forced to drop guard or, I don't know, maybe, like, take chip damage or incrementally get even slower. And then, just on the basis of me disliking a certain tactic, I'm not the biggest fan of people who play the infiltrator or the sniper with the submachine gun, just because it's like Like I know it's infiltrator, like it's not just sniping, but still it's mildly annoying. Granted, I've gotten like somewhat decent at seeing the shimmer of people who are invisible. It's just in Space Marine 2 it feels like it's a little bit harder to do that because it's not as much of a pronounced shimmer effect like how it would be like in Halo or like PlanetSide. But oh well. Actually, no. I'm gonna play heavy. So I don't know. Like I look at the Iron Warrior, you know, heavy, and I'm just like, man, you can't tell me that like he just doesn't look cool. Sure, he looks pretty basic, you know, because Mark III armor does look kind of basic, and Iron Warriors are just iron colored, so metallic gray. But they look kind of sick. They look big and bulky and heavy, and I'm all for it. Shoot him quicker, dang it! Like, come on, guys. Like, we knew he was coming there. Why did it take everyone so fucking long to do something? Luna. Dog. Why do you do this now? Why couldn't you have gotten up and done stuff earlier when I was in the middle of, like, a down period time? Oh, my dog. You need to relax, dog. You gotta wait a little bit. You had the misfortune of choosing the wrong time to start doing stuff. Dog. I unfortunately may need to leave the match just because she's being very particular. Luna! Okay, yeah, I may have to leave the match, so. Yeah, well, unfortunate. Alright, I'll be right back. Probably will be back in like 5 minutes. I apologize, was not meaning to leave this game, but my dog is being dog of all times. Yeah, I'm coming. Okay, you like to be very particular. I, for the moment, am back. My dog is still going pee and poop. She probably will open the back door by herself, so I'll have to get up and close it. But, yeah, no, she's just, like, very bossy. Like, oh, she's back at the door. Alright, I'll be right back. Hey, relax. Slow down. Slow down. Okay, you need to chill. You need to relax, princess. Yeah, you need to chill and relax. If you don't, you're going in your bed and you're going to be in trouble. You need to relax. Slow down. Okay? You need to slow down. Yeah. You can get up on my bed. You don't gotta bark. You don't gotta bark at me. You get up there by yourself all the time. We're just being bossy and needy. Hey. Stop messing with your hand, okay? You know that causes problems. That's why you have the cone on. Stop messing with your cone. You keep messing with it, you're gonna get put up. Okay? You're gonna go in your bed, and then you're gonna be not happy. Like, I'm sorry. I don't like being with you, but like, come on. Like, I don't like being a butthead to you, but you're a bossy dog and very much a butthead to me, so... Someone...
Casualty reported. All specs engaged. The traitors attack our terrain. Shock grenade.
Like some would say that my dog is bossy and a tiny bit, like, abusive when she doesn't get what she wants. And I only say that just because she'll, like, with her cone, she'll, like, come over and, like, freaking... I guess you could say headbutt, but, like, she will, like semi-aggressively, like, rub the cone into your legs.
The arch enemy has defiled the objective. Incoming. The arch enemy has defiled the objective. The traitors attack
Yeah, I don't know. But going back to what I was sort of, like, talking about, or thinking out loud about in, like, Space Marine 2 PvP, yeah, I'm just not the fan of, like, some tactics or strategies or how some things are, like, designed, like, out to be. Like, an example being just how things tend to go when fighting, like, bulwarks that only just block. It's super not, like, fun. That was a bad Auspex scan.
Throwing shock grenade. The arch enemy has defiled the objective.
I wasn't even in that, I can't see. Okay, that's kind of cringe. Lay down, please. You need to lay down, dog. Like, you are perfectly fine, and you are now just being really uppity for no reason. Like, well, I don't know why you don't have to beat up my blanket. Why are you beating up my blanket? You're beating up my blanket. Why?
All specs ready to scan. Commencing all space scan.
The traitors attack our terrain.
A brother has fallen. Reloading.
This is Imperial territory.
All space ready to scan. Shock grenade out. Launching fragment.
And now my other dog's barking.
Enemy has to fight.
But they were both outside. She's having one of her episodes.
Refresh for the war.
No, little dog, it's okay. I know you're old and crazy.
The arch enemy has defiled the objective.
Frag grenade. Shock grenade loose. Scanning.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Our brother died in valor, not in vain. Augmentation device deployed.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Intercepting projectiles.
Also, these guys are playing kind of cring.
Objective locus updated. The arch enemy has defiled the objective.
Fresh
Oh,
magazine.
die. Traitor.
The traitors attack our terrain. The traitors attack our terrain. The arch enemy has defiled the objective.
Activating all specs advantage. Deploying shock grenade. Swapping magazine. My duty remains undone.
The traitors attack our terrain.
I mean, fuck them. Might as well just go to the next spot.
Objective locus updated.
This battle exacts a grave toll. All specs engaged.
Play like a rat. Gotta expect some little bit of rat tactics. But no, I don't know. Just like really the main things I've ever griped about in Space Marine 2 PvP is just Bulwarks being turtles. Yeah, I get it. Like it's their whole shtick, but it's like really cringe to deal with if like, especially since there is no recourse for just holding block. You don't take chip damage. Yeah, you get slowed the longer you are like that and you're taking sustained fire, but who cares about a slow if all you're gonna more or less do is either backpedal or just slowly advance, right? Like, yeah, it slows down how fast you can backpedal, but then it's just like, not really a punishment. Like there's nothing in place that like disincentivize people from just like perma blocking. It also just doesn't help, at least in my opinion, that the only real good melee weapon that Bulwarks have, either for PvE or PvP, is the chainsword. Like, in a general broad sense. You know, I don't know. Okay, so the heavy in PvP does not have access to the bolt rifle. I mean heavy bolt rifle makes sense. But I don't know. Like, for me, with Space Marine 2 PvP, I do enjoy it. It is fun, but it is an experience where, like, after, I don't know how many matches, but like after a little while, it's like, okay, it's a little samey feeling, which I mean makes sense. There's only 3 game modes and like 4 or 5 maps, so you know it's gonna feel samey after, like, quickly. But more of it comes down to just like the mental like exhaustion of like, hey, people are gonna basically be rat with sniper using a submachine gun and cloaking and sneaking behind you and mag dumping you in the back. Like, you run into a lot of those, or a lot of bulwarks who just do nothing but like permablock, and then like nothing bad ever happens to them and they just profit. It doesn't feel very good, and it is kind of like mentally draining, at least in my opinion.
The arch enemy has defiled the objective. The arch enemy has
But is what it is.
redeployed for combat.
I don't know. I think of the game modes also, this is probably the one I dislike the most.
Brother killed in action. The traitors attack our terrain.
What? Wait, what? What staggered me?
Support incoming, brother.
Unironically, like what caused me to stagger? Like, I'm not mad or anything. I'm just more like, what? Like, I wasn't hit with anything.
The traitors attack our terrain. Grenade deployed.
Nice. Good job. Good job, Battle Brothers.
Objective locus updated. Iron Haven online.
Dude is going through it.
The traitors attack our terrain. Elite countermeasures. Immediate line ready. Deploying frag grenade. This is Imperial territory.
So he can pixel peek me, but I can't pixel peek him. How does that make sense?
The arch enemy has defined the objective. Iron Halo ready.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Throwing shock grenade.
The arch-enemy has defiled the objective. Objective locus updated.
Packing up equipment. Iron Halo ready.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Ammunition restocked.
We all rise in retribution.
Engaging elite.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Obtaining armaments.
Okay, the fact that you can animation cancel that is kind of annoying, and I shouldn't be surprised that it exists, but like, really,
Our terrain.
really.
Iron Halo enhanced tactic ready.
This is Imperial territory. This is Imperial territory.
Iron Halo ready. Refilling magazines.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Enhanced tactic ready. The chapter is not finished.
Oh, I thought that was open doorway. My mistake.
The arch-enemy has defiled the objective.
Nice.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Ammunition restocked.
Hi, game. Hello. I had Iron Halo. Did I not? I did activate it. I saw it go yellow, unless that was me seeing something else.
The traitors attack our terrain. Objective locus updated.
Throwing shock grenade. Enhanced tactic ready.
This is Imperial territory.
Casualty confirmed.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Our brother goes. Fatality enhanced tactic ready. Deathlock.
The traitors attack our terrain.
Iron payload protocol in progress.
Objective locus updated.
Obtaining arms.
And for me being marked and you guys doing more damage to me, y'all sure do seem to be scared of going after one guy when there are three of you around. Pretty strange.
Traitors attack our terrain.
But
The arch enemy has defiled the objective.
I'm just wait for everyone.
Engaging elite countermeasures.
The traitors attack our terrain. The traitors attack our terrain.
No, Snickers, it's not food. It's not dinner time yet, although it is getting close.
The arch enemy has defiled the objective.
It is close to your dinner time, dog, but it's not that time yet. Although I don't think she's barking because she's hungry. She's just barking because I think she saw, or she thought she saw some movement, and so she's kind of like a little spastic about it. Cause yeah, it's like you can go in there, like go into the back room where the dogs like beds are, and you know you can look at her, like look at the dog who's barking in the background right now, and I think like what was how my mom said it's like that the lights are on but no one's home, like you can call out to her like say her name. Maybe she hears you, maybe she doesn't. Then it's like if she does hear you or like notice like you like you know movement that you made, she'll like look in your direction, but then like not like see you. Like like that's I guess the best way to like explain it. Like she's not entirely blind, but she is definitely mostly like there. And so like unfortunately she has these little episodes more often than not, and you just like unfortunately kind of have to just let her yap her little head off, because like even going back there, like going to the back room where they're at and going in there, you know, going to her, petting her, telling her it's okay, you know, you're fine, like nothing's you know getting you or whatever. It's like no, she's still just becomes spastic. And I mean, and it is super unfortunate, but it's like unfortunately kind of like can't do anything about it. Like she's just that's just how she is. She's old. So it's you know somewhat to be expected because of her age. I got a new skin. Oh, nice. You know, but I mean, you know, she's chill in her bed. I mean, like the funny thing is too is it's like similar to my bigger dog who's sleeping in my room currently. My little dog, the one who's barking currently, Like not only does she have like bladder control problems, but she'll like go the entire day, like practically just chill in her bed or hanging out, like, when she's outside, sunbathing, no yapping, no whatever. But then you have like times like this where it's just like one reason or another. Maybe she got scared, maybe she startled herself awake, maybe she thought she saw something, but like there's nothing actually like there or whatnot, or she thought she heard something, and then she just does this. She just starts barking, and then she'll like bark for like an hour. And no matter how much you go back there and are like, Snickers, it's okay, Snickers, it's okay. You don't need to, you don't need to be barking. Like, there's nothing out there. There's nothing coming to get you. No matter how much you do that, it's like it doesn't stop. And even and I know you could say, like, oh, well, like maybe she wants to go outside. It's like they're like most of the time when she's like this, you go to let her outside, she doesn't go outside. She'll just like sit there and like stare at you, like what are you doing? So it's like, I don't understand, dog. What is the problem? Like, other than you being old and crazy and like losing your vision and hearing, like what's the problem? And like, of the two of my dogs, like the little one, the one who's barking, she's the one who eats the most now, because Luna, my bigger dog, she's like very picky, choosy with when she wants to eat, because she doesn't like eating her dog food. She likes eating, our people food, like.
Specs is ready. Imperial Nazis assault our territory. None hide from my gaze. Finally, some pillaging. Imperial Nazis assault our territory.
Ah, the classic bolt gun. How I love thee. And I wish that I could make the bolt rifle not have a scope, but it'd still be the bolt rifle.
What truths need revealing? New objective point found. Swapping magazines.
Oh, ouch. Yeah, you probably should have led with melee first, bud.
Our toll is higher. All specs is ready. Seeing beyond. Allied casualties assault our territory.
If I could teabag, I would, but I can't. So I'm not able to.
Our warband's halfway there. Vision reveals the folly of blind faith.
I don't know. That very much felt like a moment of like, yeah, teabag, woo.
None hide from my gaze. Loading magazine.
Dude, that guy got played. Holy, I saw that through the wall. Man, that guy got nailed. Holy. Sucks to suck, I guess.
Objective point found. Scanning for
Yeah, I know how to parry, dude. I was like, it also does feel odd when you're firing the bolt rifle, and like you're not like I'd say like just blasting it, like you're actually trying to pace shots, and it just doesn't want to like reset its accuracy. It's like super inaccurate like most of the time. Mildly annoying. Mildly annoying.
Vision reveals the folly of blind faith. Imperial extra assault on territory.
Nice. Nice. Well, I think with that W under our belts, I think that will be the end of this, or yeah, this will be the wrapping up of the stream. So, for anyone who was watching, lurking, and who chatted, I appreciate the viewing and or lurking. But until next time, see you guys later. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.